All right, guys and gals of Podcast Day 2018, we're excited. We have a guy who is driving across, I don't know how many hours you're in the car today, but I know that you have a bit of a journey ahead of you. And so I want to say thank you for being flexible. Make sure you're pulled over in a safe and secure location for this.
We're packed up. We're ready to go. As soon as we're done with this, we're getting on the road.
Awesome. And where are you driving from to where, Sean?
Yeah, so we went from Austin, survived the hurricane, right, for New Media Summit, drove from Austin to North Carolina, got our dogs, made sure our house was okay, got out before anything else got trashed, made it to Chicago, spoke in Chicago, made it to Michigan, went back to Chicago to speak, and then back in Michigan to speak, and then hung out with family, and now we're heading back to North Carolina.
Wow, that's a little. I know it's about a 14-hour drive from here in Austin to North Carolina, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like 20. Yeah, it's like 20 hours it took us.
Woo, good stuff. Well, craziness. For those that don't know who Sean is, Sean Douglas is a U.S. Air Force veteran, master resilience implementer, professional speaker, international radio host, performance enhancement expert, and author with almost 10,000 hours of speaking and training time. He inspires and motivates you to live your brand so you can grow personally and professionally. Millennials to 50-year-old professionals hire Sean to teach them mental, physical, social, emotional, spiritual resilience skills that empowers them to withstand, recover, and grow through adversity, stress, and life's changing demands in a highly interactive and engaging environment. Utilizing online coaching sessions and face-to-face workshops, Sean spent 4 years as an Air Force basic training drill instructor. He's an energetic and passionate about inspiring others to succeed. While serving in this country for the past 16 years, he also started 3 successful businesses. His book, Decisions, The Power to Overcome Self-Defeating Behaviors, reflects his passion for inspiring others to succeed and grow through worst sessions of their life. Sean, first of all, thank you so much for your service. We have a big heart here with what we do for our servicemen. So first of all and foremost, thank you for being active duty still, because you're still working as in the military, right?
3 more years, man. 3 more years, I'm out.
Wow, good stuff there. Good stuff. So, man, talk a little about your show. Let's talk a little bit about that, man. Let's talk about how you're changing people's lives or having to help them transform.
Yeah, man. So the show's called Life Transformation Radio. It's all about the hiccups, the roller coasters, the failures, and we literally dive under the water and look at the big, giant iceberg that nobody sees on Facebook, social media, email. You know, we literally dive deep, and we tell the stories of why we're doing what we're doing, highlighting those transformational moments that have changed our lives, and how we then use that transformational moment to elevate everyone around us.
That's huge. What's been one of the biggest aha or nuggets from your podcast? What's one of the biggest things that just kind of blown your mind from having a podcast, man?
I'm never not amazed at what people go through. I'm never not amazed. Every time I have a guest, I'm just blown away of what they've carried around, what they've endured, what they've gone through to get where they are now. A lot of times we find out that, wow, okay, so you were a 10-year overnight success. I thought you were just successful. I thought like you just wrote this book and you were just highly acclaimed author and you were like this amazing podcast host. Like I didn't know that you struggled for 20 years or what, you know what I mean? Like you just, when you go behind the scenes and you listen to people's stories, it makes you feel better about yourself, but it makes you feel better that, okay, so I'm not the only one having this particular struggle, or I'm not the only one that's feeling this type of way. You're muted. You're muted.
My apology. Sorry about that. I didn't want me pouring a Red Bull the fizz out there. Only the second one of the day. But you're talking about a good thing. They don't see the iceberg beneath the water. They don't see the past failures, the 20 years, the 10 years, the 5 years, whatever that struggle is, the bankruptcy, or like Allison was just going through welfare, the deaths of the family, or that kind of stuff. A lot of times they only see us put us on this pedestal. And they don't understand the ladder that we had to climb to get there, right?
Right. Yeah, and that's what we highlight. We highlight the behind the scenes.
Yeah. And how has having the show and juggling still a full-time thing, how's that worked out for you, man? Because I'm sure a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, you're still in the military and you have a show. How's that work?
And I speak 20 to 25 times a year, and I do a bunch of other trainings and stuff. So the number one rule of success is to schedule everything. Every single moment of my life is scheduled. I know when I have to go to bed, how many hours of sleep I need, when I need to wake up for work, what I do during work, right? Because I'm at work, I can't really, do the business or whatever. So if you think about it, I only spend maybe 20 hours a week on the business part. Lots of Saturdays, couple Sundays here and there. But it's mostly anytime between after like 1600 all the way to, 10, 11 o'clock at night. That's when I'm really starting to grind it out, and the kids are doing homework and I'm doing my business. So, but you have to schedule. We schedule family time. We schedule trips. We schedule, and so I juggle everything because I mastered my schedule.
And no one will appreciate your time until you start maximizing your time and you start appreciating your own time, right? It's one of the biggest things.
Right. Oh, yeah. When they say time is money, it really is. So what I tell people to do is two things. One, go back into your bank account for the last 30 days and go back into your calendar, because time and money are two things that people willingly never give up. People value time and money over everything. So if you're like, man, there's not enough time in a day, I don't know how I'm going to get everything done, go back 30 days and see what you spent time on. I guarantee you, as we all hear on Gary Vee's videos, you're probably watching Netflix, or you're probably watching like cat videos on YouTube, or you're probably, you know what I'm saying? Like if I'm in the bathroom, I'm on my phone, like Facebook and emailing, like I don't pause. You know what I mean? When I'm at dinner for 1 hour, we're at dinner, no phones, no TV, no radio, no nothing. For that 1 hour, I'm just with my family eating dinner. That's my pause. And then we have scheduled family time, game nights, whatever. So go back and do an audit of your bank account and do an audit of your calendar and see what you really value and see what you spent time and money on. Second thing that I always tell people is you budget your money, you budget your time. Think about how long it takes you to send out the emails, to post on social media, be deliberate in your time. When I say I'm on social media for 1 hour, that means if a phone rings and it's not an emergency, I'm not answering. If an email comes across, I'm not answering it. I'm not looking at it. I don't get distracted. I'm laser focused for 1 hour, and for that 1 hour, I already have a strategy on what I'm doing. I'm posting in this group, this group, this group. I'm answering these, and these. I'm Facebook messaging this, and this. Like, I already have a set strategy and system. So if you don't have a set strategy and system in place, you're already failing.
It's a huge. Time blocking is so important, and you have to expect that you're going to fail at it first, but at least working, because if you can time block something a half of your day or chunk of your day, you'll find the time to get stuff done that you need to get done, right? Yep. You're in a total walking answer to that, of course, Sean. Let's talk about your podcast a little bit. Transformation, life transformations. Has there been a guest that you've had on the show or something you've worked in who's really just blown you away how much transformation that you've been able to help them with?
So you talk about a guest or a listener?
Both. It could be both. Either or, man.
So there's my most highest downloaded episode is Trish Roberts. Trish Roberts has been dealing with MS for 20 years. She was a singer. She was an athlete. She was amazing at everything she was doing. Then she got MS. So for the last 20 years, she's been dealing with MS. She now is a women's coach for women who have MS. And I'm like, oh, that is huge transformation. And she told us about how she wanted to kill herself and how she was mad at the world and she didn't come out of her house. But she's turned it all around, to help women who are just finding out that they have MS and they're dealing with this debilitating disease. There was a listener who heard an episode from what's his name? The guy from the UK. I can't remember his name. Kevin something. I can't remember his name. Sorry, dude, if you're listening. So he's from the UK, and he literally like backpacked through like India and went to like ashrams and like all kinds of stuff, and he's like a Tai Chi like master whatever thing. And I was like blown away at this episode because one of the listeners contacted me and says, I need to get in touch with this guy because I believe that he can help me. And oh my gosh, I'm so interested in what he's doing. And so they got together. And so because of the energies and like all the work that guy did, the guest a couple months later was like, bro, complete transformation. I live better. I feel better. I love stronger. I'm so much happier. And because of this guy saying that he's what he did, that guy followed in his footsteps, got in contact with that particular guest. The guest coached him. Boom. Life transformation.
That's so awesome, man. And you don't have to be around you 5 minutes so that you've got a real passion for helping people overcome things and transforming.
Oh, absolutely.
Where do you think that drive comes from, Sean?
In 2008, man, I was suicidal and tried to take my life. And it was people helping me through it. Even though I didn't believe that I was good enough, I didn't believe that I held in any value. Like I still to this day, I always grew up. I always believed that I would invent the iPhone. I would invent the car, the light bulb, the podcast. Like I just knew that I was destined for greatness. I never knew what it was. I would fail a lot. I'd do stupid things. I would drink and so I wasn't living to my value. I wasn't living to my potential. So now I see my value. I see my potential and the lives that have been changed because of me and because of what I can offer. Man, I love when somebody says my life has changed because of you. The whole point is I want to grow up to the end of my life for someone to say, I did not give up because of you. You changed my life. That gives me value and meaning.
And I think a lot of people fail to realize their values out there, that we all have values. One of the things that's been ringing true throughout so far podcast days, people basically sharing what their true center is, their true north, focusing on that, and then resonating with people outside that are going through that same thing. Just like you talked about your guest who reached out to the guy in the UK about that aspect of it. What are some of the things that I don't know? Do you have a three nugget approach or something that you like to focus on when you're talking with people trying to help them transform?
Absolutely. So I mentor entrepreneurs, speakers, and business owners. And no matter what you're doing, I always ask 3 questions. First question is, what am I willing to do more of than anybody else? As a speaker, as a podcaster, as a whatever I'm doing, what am I willing to do more of? The second question is, what am I willing to do differently? I watched the movie Wonder, and I completely fell in love with that movie because during that movie, the sister tells Augie, do not blend in when you were born to stand out. I threw my hand, I was like, oh my God. I was like, yes. You know what I mean? If you ever seen the movie Wonder, I don't know, I cried 4 times in that movie. And then the one time at the end, he was like, everybody deserves a standing ovation. I'm like, because I'm a speaker. Everybody does. I want a standing ovation when I'm on stage. I want that. So the second one is, what are you willing to do differently? And then the third question, and the most important question you can ever ask, is how will I connect? How will I connect with the world around me? Facebook, Twitter, any social media, YouTube, email, phone calls. Are you writing a letter? Are you using, how will you connect? On stage, are you using stories? Are you using emotions? Because people buy on emotions, identity, and needs. So how am I going to connect with them? So if you can answer these 3 questions, what am I willing to do more of, differently, and how will I connect? If you can answer those questions, it will give you the way forward.
3 amazing nuggets right there, man. That's so powerful. And it really does come down to that. What are you willing to do more of? What are you willing to be different about? Be different, and then how are you going to connect? That's such, man, boom, hang on. I got to pull 3 light bulbs out of my noise meter. Ding, ding. But that's the thing. What do you want to do more of? That's the consistency part of podcasting. The consistency part of being an entrepreneur. Because let's face it, there are ups and downs to everything, right? And just being consistent.
Right.
What's the best advice that you can give somebody? Allison says, she says that is a hell yeah, but I think she's talking about margaritas or something like that early in the post. What's the biggest advice you can give to people looking to start a new podcast, or people that have been podcasting just for a little while, maybe going through that low spot?
So if you want to start a podcast, or you have been doing a podcast, you're not getting the traction you want, you're just like, is this for me? Is it, just go all in. Like, people know when your content is rehearsed or it's fake or it's scripted, or right. And then you have to know exactly what you want to say, what you want to do, and who you want to reach. Like, you have to niche down. Just to have regurgitated content is just boring, and people will tune you out. So again, you have to be different. And what are you willing to do more of? You have to do something more than what everybody else is doing. So if you look at any of the people that are going to be on here today for what Scott's doing, we all give something different. We all give more than somebody who's not been doing this, but like 5 minutes. Like, we found out what our niche was, and we double down, and we make it happen. And we're passionate about it.
Mm-hmm, definitely. And you've definitely got a passion for speaking and sharing. Where are you going to be speaking over the next few weeks?
Yeah, so I'm heading home to North Carolina. I've got a local one happening next week. And then October 20th, I head to South Carolina to speak at the South Carolina School Nutrition Association. And then November, I've got Veterans Day events. I've got 2 of those. I've got one for the South Carolina Federal Credit Union Association that I'm working on. And then I'm taking December off. And then January, Louisiana. February is hopefully coming back to New Media Summit. And then we'll go from there. I got like 4 different dates lined up in 2019 already.
Good, congratulations. What has been the biggest thing that you've changed about your podcast since you started?
The logo. Dude, when I started, bro, like, I found a picture I liked, and then I gave it to somebody. I was like, just make this look good. And then they kind of made it look good. It was like this doorway. It was like a stairway. I was like, Stairway to Heaven, baby. Like, who doesn't like Stairway to Heaven? And everybody was like, well, the graphics kind of, so now I got shirts made with the new logo. Boom. Right? So, like, everybody loves this new logo. So, like, I went, like I don't know, like 50 to 80 episodes with, like, that logo. And I'm like, I'm just not feeling it. Like, I'm just like, ugh. So then I had a designer. I'm like, design me something, man. And he's like, let's take a picture of you and break it into pieces, as in all of it's coming to you, because that is transformation. I'm like, oh, and then done. So now, like, it looks legit.
So your biggest thing is don't be afraid to rebrand yourselves or update your branding, then, was what you would say then, correct?
Update that. So every 3 to 5 years must be updating your logos, updating your branding, updating your vision statement, updating your mission statement. Like, you must. Absolutely 100% must. Toys R Us never did, they're out. Blockbuster never did, they're out. Right? If you look at all of the places that closed down, it's the same old stuff day in, day out. They've been doing it for 20 years. They've never updated the logo, never updated their branding, never did anything different. They've always done it the same way. And that kills businesses.
Yeah. Doing the same thing over and over and over again, and not changing things and not advancing or tweaking what you're doing. Definitely. How does podcasting make you a better speaker?
Oh my gosh. 1,000%. I ask better questions. I engage better with my listeners. I engage better with my guests. So I've been doing a lot of Q&A after my talks, and it's just like a podcast. Like, somebody has a question, I'm like, that's a very good question. So, you know what I mean? So, yeah, way better. Oh my gosh, way better.
Good. That's good to hear, because I think a lot of people want to be speakers. I know I've got some our tribe. Oh, I want to do a podcast. I want to speak. And like, listen, okay, you got to build upon it a little bit. You got to work at this. You got to hone your craft. You got to do something.
Oh yeah.
You can run. I had a good friend of mine. I want to start teaching. Like, well, why don't you start a meetup group first, build your audience, and work your way up from there, right?
Yeah.
Aspect of it. And you've done that. You've honed your craft where you were speaking on smaller stages and then gotten to bigger stages. But you build your craft by communicating and talking to people on your podcast all the time, right?
Absolutely. Having a podcast and knowing how to direct the conversation, just 1,000% has made me a way better speaker.
Awesome. Sean, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you or get in touch with you?
Yeah, so my website is www.thesuccess Core, C-O-R-P-S, thesuccesscore.com. You have LinkedIn and Facebook. That's the only two social medias I play on is LinkedIn and Facebook. So go to The Success Core, C-O-R-P-S, and you'll see my social media links right there on the website. You can email me, contact me. Would love to have a conversation with you.
Awesome, Sean. Man, thanks so much for being flexible. I know you tweaked a couple of times because of your schedule. Have a safe trip back home, man. Glad everything's so great with the house after the hurricane.
Oh, yeah.
Be safe, and we look forward to hanging out with you some more in the future.
You rock, brother. Thank you.
Hey, thank you too, man. All right, have a safe trip. All right. That is going to wrap that up there for Sean, and we're going to bring on our next guest here in just a second.